streaming on the cheap. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Mike Castle from Archive Stereo, and I'm doing a video that is more kind of a primer, actually, if you will, more of a learning sort of thing, but it also is product review as well, and it is basically streaming on the cheap. If you want to get into streaming and you don't want to spend a lot of money, like I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and I still haven't spent a lot of money to get into streaming, I've got a number of ideas for you, and so I'm just going to get right into it. Now, if you are going to go into streaming, this was new to me a few months ago, and so if it's new to you, this is going to be, I hope, a great video for you. A few months ago, I mean, I really I have a video about how I've been out of the market for 30 years, and I went back in, and everybody's streaming now, and I'd been doing a little bit with Bluetooth streaming, but that's about it, and that's kind of the first one I'm going to talk about. But basically, the idea behind streaming is that this is basically allowing you to get like the music out of your phone or a tablet or desktop, if you have it, from available digital sources into your stereo. Now, there's a real easy way to do this in stream, and you can just get a stereo, like, sound bar that will pair with your phone, and if that's fine, that that's all you need, that's fine. And a lot of people, I would say a great number of people, are doing that. They find a sound bar at like Best Buy or wherever, and just use that. And there's very good ones, very very good quality ones. You can get really upscale ones too if you want to do that, but you don't necessarily need to. What I'm talking about is if you have an existing stereo system or home theater system, and you want to stream into that using your standalone speakers, using your receiver and or standalone components like your preamplifier feeding into your amplifier or just into your power amplifier, and we'll talk about how that will work as well. So, but that's the basic thing here. So if you want to get a sound bar or something like that, you don't really need a video. Just find a sound bar that you like, pair your phone with it, pair your tablet with it, and you're all set. The music services, this is a different thing than many years ago. I started out with iTunes, and now I've evolved to whatever Apple has right now in the little music app that I use, and I subscribe to a service with that. But there are other ones out there. There's Qobuz, there's Tidal, which I use also. And a matter of fact, on the thing where I'm doing my streaming through Wi-Fi, I'm using Tidal almost exclusively for that, although I can call up Tidal on my desktop at work and play some music through that when I want to hear just something as well. And there, it's like an Amazon service. It's like, it's where you've got all of this music available, and the music is available to you through these subscription services that cost anywhere from $5.99 up to $20. Tidal, I think I'm paying like $10 or $11 for, and I'm happy to be doing so. I've had pretty good luck with that. But so that is something you're going to need to start off with, is that you need this. Also, the source material can be anywhere from a very low resolution, although decent resolution, but not quite as high as CDs. So it's like an MP3, but a lot of people are used to MP3s and they listen to that. And I was for years listening to about MP3 quality. And then you can go up, and I'm not going to get into all the codec, the ways in which you have all this music encoded and decoded, but just to say that the two things that you need to think about is music that is kind of lossy, L-O-S-S-Y, in other words, it loses some of its resolution from when it was originally recorded to an album or to a CD at 44.1 kilohertz. That's the main thing that you're aiming for. So lossy would be it's losing some of that, whereas lossless is stuff that you're going to get from the higher services. You can get them from iTunes as well. It is just, can you get them from your phone into your stereo system? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually a relatively lossy version of streaming, and that is this is the Logitech Bluetooth adapter. It's about 30-40 bucks. I've had mine for several years. Before I was doing anything and I wanted to get music out of my phone, out of my iTunes, I was just doing it through this. And this is a real simple thing. There's just a couple of connections on it. And I don't have this plugged in right now, but it comes with a little wall wart. And you just power it up like that, and this will turn blue. And then you just take your regular RCA jacks, plug them into that, and then at the other end, you're going to plug into an input on your existing receiver. So that can be like the auxiliary in. It could be tape 1 or tape 2 in. Don't use the tape outs. It can't be the phono. It shouldn't be the tuner because of the difference in the impedance. And with the phono, phono isn't designed for that. That's designed for the lower level signals from a turntable that also need a phono preamplifier, which is usually built into those circuits, and then people get once there. But this serviced me well. It is lossy. It is a what they call the SBC codecs, or I can't even find what the you're going to hear this a lot when you talk about streaming. DAC, the digital audio converter, just DAC, DAC. I can't find out any information about what DAC is built into. This is probably a cheaper Texas Instruments, TI something, but it's worked, and until people were telling me how lossy it was, I didn't even really know how lossy it was. I was kind of enjoying the music, and it played well through my stereo system, and like I said, I used it for a couple of years, and it's super simple. Now, this is only a receiver. You can't take music into this and transmit it to a sound bar, okay? So basically your phone, you can see I have a cheap phone, and into this, across the room, and then this is hardwired into your system, into one of those inputs. And that, like I said, it worked fine. For 38 bucks, a very cheap way to get in that. And what you're doing, though, is you're doing it over Bluetooth. This is not a Wi-Fi streamer. This is over Bluetooth. And because it's not a very sophisticated Bluetooth one, it is rather, as they say, lossy. You are not going to get the full 44.1 even of that. Now, when you want to move up to that, but you still want to stay with a with Bluetooth, the one that I bought because I wanted to kind of upgrade my Bluetooth options is the Auris BluMe Pro, and it has again just simple RCA outputs on here, although there is also a coaxial out, which means that you could take the output of this and put it into what is known as a DAC, which I just explained, right? The digital to audio converter, and you can use like an external DAC. Now, this is a $149 item. To use this with an external DAC it makes no sense to me. I mean, yeah, okay, I got this cheaper and I'm going to plug it into my really good DAC. But if you have a really, really good DAC, you're not messing with this in the first. I don't know, but that's fine. And then it's got it also has optical out, and will come with all the connecting stuff that you need. And it's got that nice now where it's got like the USB-C thing that goes into a little, not a power brick, not a wall wart, but just a little power block on there. But this is comes with instructions. Comes with a nice little box here. I've actually played this and enjoyed it. Let me give you a little bit of the details on this one. This costs $149. You can get an HD model for about $99, so you don't have to spend that much, but I don't know if it's the same data as I'm about to give you now. The resolution, 384K, which the higher that is, that's way higher than the 44.1K, and not a whole, well, no, I should say when you're using the services, you do have a lot of options for that. Did I put this down right? 32-bit? No, yeah, 32-bit. which is pretty high. And it uses a very popular, when you look at what DAC is inside of something. By the way, there's the internal DAC, so you don't have to buy a DAC. And then there is the option to go into an external DAC where that's a separate purchase. But we're not talking about those at all. Okay, so the DAC that is in this is from a very good line, the ESS Sabre line, and in this case it is the ES9028Q2M, which is just one lower than the upper level product that I'm going to talk about. And again, $149. It has, if you want to know the codecs for this, the big deal is it has LDAC, LDAC, Qualcomm, aptX, HD, and ACC, which are, don't worry about all these things. It's just, it can do lossless. And most of the time when I have mine on, it even has this little display screen that tells you what resolution you're at. It's not a big screen. You can't really see it too well, but it's nice to have. And most of the stuff that I stream is at 44.1K, because which is the CD level quality. I don't stream real high stuff because I could try it on Bluetooth, but when I move to my Wi-Fi streamers, my Wi-Fi in my house is so bad, it really like chokes down quite a bit and stops and starts and sputters when I'm trying to use the really high resolution. And that's a problem with my Wi-Fi. It's not a problem with any of the stuff that I'm using. But yeah, so the BluMe by Auris. By the way, I'm mentioning these products. If you look in the description, you will not see an affiliate link. If you see a link to the products, it is not an affiliate link. I have no affiliate links here at all. I'm doing this because these are ones that I've owned. I have nothing to gain by you going down and buying this, but I've been kind of happy with this. It kind of has, and I think this might be a quality of these ESS Sabre DACs. It's got a bit more of a lower end, but not necessarily at the expense of the high end. But it is a little deeper, darker. And I don't know 100% if I'm a fan or not, but it's got the little antenna here, and anyway, you can just start with this. The one thing I will say about this Auris is it is metal construction, solid. The first time I picked this up, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a pretty heavy duty item. So anyway, I've been happy with it. Like the Logitech, and no matter what I use to do Bluetooth, I think my phone is so old and so cheap, I get a lot of like hiccups, where it stops for a second, and especially though with the Logitech, so it might be a little problem with that, but it might be just me. And I even get it with the Auris BluMe Pro a little bit. But again, I don't know if it's just my old phone or whatever, but that can happen, at least in my experience with the Bluetooth. So the Bluetooth streaming is just, you're going off of Bluetooth, right? So if you pair this up with whatever you got, or you pair this up with whatever you got, it's going to work great, and there's really not much issues. You can play it off of whatever you're doing. You could play YouTube videos off of that if you've got your Bluetooth on, and you go into your settings and you make sure you're connected, and that's all it does. They pair easily. They're real easy to use. They're super simple. Not to say that the Wi-Fi stuff isn't, but they can get a little bit more complicated. So that's the Bluetooth versions of this. The next one that I want to talk about is the WiiM Mini. The WiiM Mini. I've been trying to pronounce this correctly. As a matter of fact, I have a story about that in a moment. But the WiiM Mini, I hope I haven't said WiiM before. If I did, I'm going to have to put a little correction underneath there. But the WiiM Mini is really cheap, $99. Yet, what it does have is it has a DAC in it made by Texas Instruments, the TI PCM 5121, which has 190 up to 192K resolution, again standard is 44.1, so that's still well above that at 24-bit, not 32-bit, but higher than 16-bit. Again, that's all depending on the source. The source has to be that way, but that's the resolution that it can do. It does have some interesting things. Again, it has kind of that power from the USB-C, which I like. It does have an out here, a optical out, and it does come with the optical cable. It comes with a couple other cables. I'll explain those too. But the other thing that's really cool, I don't have it on right now, but it has auxiliary in. You can't really see it in here, but that means you could plug in a CD player. Now, the problem with the way that it does it in here is it does come with the cable, so you don't got to worry about hunting for cables or anything like that. But what it does is I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's one of those small, sub-mini stereo things. So what it does in this is it's kind of like a connector like this, and it's going to go in there, and then it's going to come out of the end with two RCA plugs that you will, again, plug into your auxiliary or your tape-in, whatever input that you have available that can take a line-level source. And but the thing is that you don't really have a path where you can use better cables. Not that you necessarily need better cables for a little $99 puck like this, but it's okay. And then the other thing too is this is the auxiliary out, and again it goes the same way. If I can show this, it's actually the exact same thing. It's this cable here that this goes out into your inputs on your receiver, your stereo, or whatever, and then you plug it in here. So again, you can't use really high quality cabling, although these have been fine. These have been fine for what it is. And again, you're doing it on the cheap, $99. You get this plus. This comes with, and I'm going to try to do some insert pictures of what this looks like, the WiiM Home app, which is a beautiful app that allows you to select the service that you're using, and then you log into that service, and then it's going to stay up on that app. And within that app, the neat thing that you have is, like, when you plug in, you can plug in a CD player. Most CD players, only the higher end CD players, have a volume control on them. They're usually a fixed volume out. Well, when you're going through this, you'll be able to go through the volume in your WiiM Home app, and you can adjust the volume of the CD player that you're playing through this. So this is, in a way, like a very, very cheap, not that great, but very not horrible a preamp. So you could go and you could plug in an auxiliary in this, plus you're going to get the Wi-Fi streaming available with this, with whatever service you're using, and then you're going to be able to plug that in, and you could go directly to a power amp, because normally you need a preamp, but if you have volume control, as long as you just remember, always make sure that volume is set low, or if you have adjusters on the back or the front of your preamp your power amp, that you set those down low at first, because it's going to come full force of what power amps do, and most power amps don't have any control over that. So you want to control in your WiiM app before you begin to play a source. You want to do that. And the one thing that I do find is that it's got a little, it's got a little tone, and that's going to go out at like full volume until you can, but you have to be in the app to adjust that. But anyway, it's got play and volume control on the front of this puck. But I literally, because it's Wi-Fi, I just, paired it with the Wi-Fi and threw it down on the ground, because I'm controlling everything through the WiiM app on the phone. It's like your phone is the remote control, because you've got the WiiM Home app, or it could be a tablet or whatever. So, and I will say one other thing. Depending on what amp you're going into, or what receiver or whatever, if it's, an older one and it's a little scratchy on the high end, I found that in the WiiM Home app it has DSP, it has digital signal processing.
And the DSP in there is in the Mini is not really too extensive. It's a little bit better when we get to the next one I want to talk about, which is the Ultra. But then that goes to another level of price. But for $100 within that WiiM app, you have some very, very usable, very helpful EQ, and there's some pre-made EQs that you can choose, or you can create and save your own. And what I was doing was, like, if I had an amp where the highs were just too harsh, I would, pull down in the graphic EQ. I didn't use the parametric EQ, but that's more because I'm too stupid to work the parametric EQ. But I would pull down the last two levels of the highs, and that could really work to soothe out a over aggressive amp. And so I found it to be really usable, really easy to use, really helpful, and super easy to A/B because you can just click it on and off within the app. So that WiiM Home app is really, really good. And there are better, apps that you can use, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But again, so for doing Wi-Fi streaming, get yourself a subscription to Qobuz or Tidal, or use your, I think I'm not sure. There's some issues with Apple Music, if I'm not mistaken. Not so much with the next one I'm going to talk about, but certainly with Amazon, with Spotify, all the ones that it's working with. Wherever you're getting your music from, you can Wi-Fi some pretty decent sounds. And as a matter of fact, and the people on the WiiM fan page may get a little mad at me, but everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, when you go from this to..." I'm going to do a separate video. It's bigger. The Ultra. Oh, you're going to love it. It's going to be so much better. It's going to be so much better. I actually didn't... The WiiM Ultra is a better overall because of so many other features. And a matter of fact, there's so many other features. I'm going to do a separate... I will mention it a little bit, but I'm going to do a separate... video just on the WiiM Ultra because because really what it is, it's not just digital Wi-Fi music transfer or on the cheap. That becomes really what I think should be called a streaming preamplifier, and not really that bad. But we'll talk about that in a moment. So what I was saying with this is, I actually liked this one a lot. And in my A and B between this and the bigger one, the one with the better DAC, objectively, and subjectively, I guess, it was the Mini, I thought, actually was a little airier, and high end was a little bit better, without being harsh, without being fatiguing. I was really happy with this. I was not bowled over between this while A-Bing it with the Ultra. That's a personal, subjective thing. I could be totally wrong, but for my ears, I didn't mind this. I thought this was fine. So, you might even want to stop at this point, because you've got now three decent choices. If you want to go really cheap and Bluetooth that's going to be a little bit lossy, but if you don't care that much and you just want to get some stuff into your system, your receiver system, and your system in general, the Logitech Bluetooth adapter is fine. If you want to step that up a little bit, actually it costs more than the WiiM Mini at $149. Sometimes you can maybe get these on sale, but the Auris BluMe, and that way you can do the lossless stuff through Bluetooth. And again, I experience some hiccups every so often. Not every time even that I play it, but great quality build, nice. You could do that. So for $149, you're all set. Or go back in price for $99, and this is what I would do over if one of these is your choice. The one that I would say, and again, there's no affiliate link there. I'm not selling this. I'm not making a dime off of this. My channel is too small at this time. My subscriber base is too small. I would rather build goodwill and see if this thing builds organically. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, but I'm enjoying this. Like I've said in almost all my videos, this is a labor of love. I enjoy this stuff. I have the experience of listening and listening for years and years and years. I'm also a musician. It's not that makes my listening any better. But what I'm saying is that I love sharing my experience. And if I was going to tell anyone, you want to try this, do what I did. I don't want to spend a lot. $99. Because, when you get into streamers, the next level up after you get to the Ultra, which I'm going to talk about just briefly in this video, the next level up then you go to Blue Sound, which is very, very good. And I've heard Blue Sound a lot. Even the lower level ones. But you're talking $500 at that point. Then you go up to Ever Solo, and you're talking $800 to $1,000. Then you go to Hi-Fi Rose, and you can spend, $1,500 to $5,000. And of course, you can spend any amount that you want and find all these streamers and all this stuff, and then you can get into streamers and separate DACs and all that. Again, you could use a separate DAC with this, and there's been a lot of buzz about a certain one, the SMSL, I think, or something like that you can find on Amazon. People swear by it. I have not tried it, so I can't speak I can't speak in an educated manner about that, but I'm not rushing out to do it. If I'm buying something for $99, I don't think another $79 DAC is going to help. I guess it's worth trying. But, this was fine. This was fine for me. And I kept saying, I want to get the Ultra. But I just kept putting it off. And then, I want to get the Ultra. And I kept putting it off. I finally got it because it was 20% off during the Black Friday week. So, I did that. But if I was just telling people what to do right now as to, I don't want to spend a lot, but I want to try streaming, spend the money on a nice service like Tidal or Qobuz or, get an upper level, thing with Spotify or whatever. I don't know too much about all of those services, but I do know Tidal, and I know that I like it a lot. And just stream with that, and for $11 plus an initial investment of $99, one-time investment, you're okay. Now, the one that I want to talk about a little bit, and I don't have it out here with me, but this is the box that it came in, and I did an unboxing. And I will show that when I do the full video. I'll do a little flashback of the unboxing. It was what I call a true unboxing, in that it was when I opened it. No, and I mean it is not this wide. Let me just show you. It's not in the box right now. The box is like super. Even the box on the Mini, WiiM just does wonderful packaging, very Apple-like, very upscale-like, but at an inexpensive price. So when you get this, the WiiM unit, the Ultra, is in here, and then on the side there's all the cabling and even an adapter that plugs into the back that has a ground for when you're using an LP through it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about here. So the thing that I want to talk a little bit about what you get when you go to the Ultra, but you go from 99 to 329, so you're up there if you're getting that. But if you go with the WiiM Ultra at 329, or as I got it 20% off, maybe they'll do that again, you get a slightly better DAC than the one that's in the Auris BluMe, and that is the ESS Sabre ES9038 Q2M. And I by the way, I find them to have similar sounds. I'll talk about that in a second. But with that, you get auxiliary in, but you also get phono in, which is amazing. And here's the thing. I've been living with this for a week, and I have tried everything with it, and I've A/B'd it and stuff like that. The phono input is not bad. When I was playing an album through, admittedly, a nice turntable, an old AR XA, which is a very good and still highly sought-after turntable. When I was playing that, I got depth from the album. I got good extension in the bass. It was nice. I was really surprised. I was very, very surprised. And that's just a really cool thing. You also get, with this, a a touch screen. And I think that's what appeals to people a lot. But then after they get it, a lot of people say, well, I can't see it from across the room. Actually, if I'm wearing my glasses, I can see it from across the room. And it has a couple little options that you can do that make it look nice. But, again, we'll talk about that. I don't really use the touchscreen that much because I can control it through the phone, through the WiiM Home app. So I don't need to be doing that. You can go out to an external DAC via several ways of doing it. You can do it through USB, which I guess is like really desired because I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a big guy on external DACs and stuff like that. But in addition, you can do it through coax, which is a preferred to optical out. But you have all of these outs available to you. You also get room correction with it, which is a DSP, a digital signal processing package that you basically hold your app and it's going to use the phones through. It's kind of cool. Again, I will talk more about these. I don't want to exhaust the whole thing because I have a whole other video that's going to be on this. You get the WiiM Home app. The WiiM Home app. It is Roon ready. Now, Roon is something that is not a music service, but it is like an app, but it also controls all of your music, including digital stuff that you can rip to your computer, and you can do an out from your computer. I will say this. A lot of the upscale places that I go to use a Roon-based app. And then they're usually running with Qobuz or Tidal as their streaming service. But then they have other things attached to it too. The nice thing about this, the Ultra, which unlike, I don't think the Mini is. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it's the Ultra and there is a step below this. There's a WiiM Pro model, which I think is also Roon ready, and also has room correction. So there's just a lot of things on that, and it does sound nice. But again, what I want to do is a separate video on that to talk about all of the other things that you can do with that, using it basically as a streaming preamplifier. I don't know if you can hear that dog barking out there, but sounds like a dog in the wild running through the neighborhood, so hopefully everything's okay on that. But my doors are closed, so I think it should be safe. Anyway, so those are ways that you can get into this. And again, the Ultra, it is cheap in comparison to the other options that you can have. But it's a level up of cheap that I really, in some ways, want to do a separate video on it because I don't even know if I want to include doing it on the cheap. So streaming on the cheap, there's lots of other options. Matter of fact, the Logitech one is there's like other versions of this that are basically clones of these on Amazon and other places that you can get them for like $19 or $20. So you could actually go really, really inexpensive with this. But you're going to have what do we got when we review this? Lossy sound, which means it's not going to be to the level of 44.1K standard set by CDs. You can get lossless with the Auris and still stay with Bluetooth, but you can go with the WiiM Mini, and for $99, actually less than this. Although you can get a HD model for $99, so and it's probably pretty darn close to the same thing. But this is the one that I would get if I was going to do this on the cheap and try it. If you find Ultra at another 20% or better version, or somebody selling their Ultra because they stepped up in streamers, that's fine. So that's it. Really go with this streaming on the cheap. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I reply to all the comments, maybe because I don't get a whole ton of them, but I would love some more subscriptions. I would love to grow this channel. Like I said, right now, I don't have a Patreon. I'm doing this out of, I've said this in other videos, I'm doing this out of the love of this. I've been listening for years and years. I've been out of the active field for about 30 years, but I've gotten back into it, so I think I can stop using that so much anymore. I'm back into it. I'm back in, baby. And so I'm just hoping that that people will listen to it, appreciate it, and I'd like to learn some stuff too. And your comments help me to learn, and it helps to grow the channel. I mean, being honest, it helps to grow the channel. So, all right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.